What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of John Does. In this episode, I'm going to show you a cool life hack, installing this trifold mirror as a modular system for your bathroom. Stay tuned. First thing we're going to do, since we don't know exactly where the beams are, you can use a stud finder, which I used, the zircon stud finder, but it's kind of a misread each time. So I already punched a few holes to see, and I kind of gathered exactly where the beams are, but that doesn't help because the width of the mirror is narrower than the entire space that I need for both beams to catch, and I don't want to mount this unless it's in the beam. So what I'm going to do is mount two strips of wood, which will be mounted into the wall, and then one of the screws will get an anchor to keep it secure, and then that way I can use this entire strip of wood, the width of the mirror, to use as an anchoring point rather than using just the 2 points at the beam itself. So I already started by creating a hole for the anchor. Now I'm just going to secure the anchor. Okay, the anchor's in. Now what we'll do is take the piece of wood that was drilled, this guy here, line it up, make sure it's level and exactly the way we need it to be. I like to get the screw started into the wood. That way I can use the tip of the screw to match into the anchor, so I know exactly where I need to go. That feels about right. And we don't have to worry about leveling it off just yet. So we have one in with the anchor. Now what we'll do is come in with the level and make sure the other side is anchored in as well. And we'll come in. So you secure one side first, and then you secure the other. Attach a small drill bit to drill. Alright guys, so the hole that I drilled, turns out the beam where I thought it was is not exactly there. Again, the stud finder fails to be exact. So what I did was I just quickly lowered this bar that I'm setting and did another test hole, and it turns out it's pretty much a ½ inch to the left of that hole I made. As you just saw in the pop out, the little bright ideas pop out below the screen, it just mentions something to do with using a magnet to find the stud dead on center. So here we have a neodymium magnet. Not sure if you know what that is, but let's just say it's a very high powered magnet. Super high powered, in fact. If you put two of these together and you get your finger in between, you could end up with a black nail. That's how strong they are. The pull is scary. I'm just using one because I'm just going to demonstrate that this is pretty accurate when it comes to reassuring where the beam is. In the other clip, you saw that I used a stud finder and it kind of didn't give me a 100% accurate read. Sometimes that happens because, you know, here's the light and you have electrical work here.
So the stud finders can get a little tricky, but the stud finder I'm using is a good one. It's a zircon. It's about $100, so it's not cheap. It usually does the job. But just like with measuring, right, you kind of want to measure 3 times and then cut once. So in this case, I know that you saw that I made a few punch holes to locate where the beam is exact, but I'm doing it for the purpose of this video because you'll likely run into that problem when you're doing this yourself. A little hack is use a little napkin or a paper towel under the magnet. That way you don't scratch the wall, because it is strong enough where it's going to scratch the paint. But this little hack right here, you won't be making damage. So take a look at what I was referring to. Here I marked with the pencil, I wrote down beam. And I'm just gonna show you, like, here is no beam. Right? If I let go, it's falling. Let me put this back into the napkin. But if I cross over where I said beam and I let go, it's sticking. And it's sticking because it found the screw head that's in that beam that's secured to the wall, ultimately the frame of the wall. So I just want to give you guys that tip. Use the way I would do it is I would measure. Usually studs are within 16 inches apart. The measurement could be different. It could be 16, it could be 18, but normally it's 16 inches. So first thing I do is measure your 16-inch mark. If that doesn't make sense for where you have to go, then I would use a stud finder. Always use a stud finder. Make a mark on your wall with pencil so that it's removable. And then lastly, reconfirm where the beam is exact, dead on center, with a magnet.
Okay, we'll do a little starter hole there, and then we'll drive the sheetrock screw right through it. Again, we're going to make sure this is level. That's the key. That's level. So that's in. Pretty secure. We shall secure the next side as well. Same process. Level it out, find the beam. I know for a certainty that the beam is here because I already test ran this. I'll run a line and where I know the beam to be. That way there's no mistakes. Hopefully you guys can see that line. That's where that beam is. So I know that I just need to drop one anchor anywhere 3/4 of the way down up into this point. Give or take that line that I just made there, that dot. So I'll run a little line with my level. Anywhere along that line I just drew will be a proper spot for the anchor. We'll switch out to the anchor bit. Actually, I'm going to switch out to the starter bit because I don't want the hole in the wood to be as large as the anchor size. We'll do a starter hole here. Once we hit the sheetrock, we can switch to the larger bit for the anchor. This bit is for the anchor. Anchor hole set. Grab one of our anchors. Enlarge it slightly. Last time it was a little tight. Enlarge it again. Set this anchor down. That's kind of what you want. You always want that little lip. I'm using the basin of the sink, by the way, as a tool holder. It works. We'll start the screw like I did last time. Just to get the point through. And then we'll line up that point with the anchor hole. Right there. And then make sure it lines up with the rest of the measurements you took. And we'll just start this process. Okay, so that's in. Because I remember I told you that the wall is sort of bowing. So we'll need to secure the beam first. It's a much tighter grab than the anchor. Much more secure. So we know where the beam is based on the line that we drew here. We're going to set that first. We'll go ahead and do a starter bit like we did with the last one, just to get it started where you want it. Make sure it's level still. Sounds like my battery's dying. Hopefully I can get this done. If this does die, I could just swap it out. Alright guys, we're going to switch out this battery. It's a replacement battery. Back in action. And we'll continue. Again, remember the wall is bowing a bit, so we have to sort of do this gingerly. We want the wood to stay flush. What I may do instead is go back to the start a bit and get a good tap into the wall. Sometimes these sheetrock screws are sharp enough to go right through, but other times it gives you a problem. So that works. Back to the driver bit and then back in the screw. Success. Alright, so we're in there. Now what we have to do is secure the other side with the anchor. This side, if you remember. Alrighty. That's looking good to me. So now that that's secure, the project is this. As weird as it sounds, but sometimes you have a vanity like I do here with two mirrors. And in a situation where you're a DIYer like me, I cut my own hair. I know it sounds weird, but I do, and I've been doing it for 10 years plus at least. And in order to do that successfully, you need a trifold mirror. Rather than, because this is an apartment rental, rather than taking this down, buying another mirror setup, which is super expensive, and then having to put that up, I decided I'm going to mount this as removable. This was purchased by IKEA, by the way. It's a cool little trifold mirror. But the thing is, I got just this this width for this mirror. So the way I'm going to get around it is I'm going to mount it to be secured to the strips by way of what they call a slat wall board. That's these things. So I cut these down already. They come in like huge boards. You can get them at Home Depot. You find these in like Models, like where the where the shoes are hanging, and they accept these little slat wall hooks in different sizes, by the way. So I'm going to mount this to the strip that I just set in at whatever destination I want based on the width of the new mirror, and then this will stick out. And I don't know if you noticed, but the mirror has this little rail at the top, sort of iron rail. That's secured into the mirror by screws, so it's not going anywhere. So the weight of the mirror will hang on this, and then I'll be able to do what I gotta do, cutting my hair, and then I could always remove it. And yes, the only eyesore will be that this will remain, but I don't think it's terrible, to be honest, especially because it's white. So again, it's not the prettiest thing, but it is a DIY trick for apartment renters that want to cut their hair. I don't know, but again, it's just to make life easier rather than dismounting this mirror and putting up a new one. Alright, so recap. The mirror that I have up is 23 3/4. The new mirror that I'm putting up is 15 3/4. That leaves me with a mirror that sits here, right? Like about there to there. What does that mean? What that means is, to do the right job, you need to have this mirror secured to the wall so it doesn't fall on your face. We know, based on the initial stud finder measurements, the zircon stud finder measurement, that the beams are here at that last screw, the first screw and the last screw, which is 18 inches. That leaves a problem, right? Because we want the full anchor for the mirror to be secured. So what I did is I mounted a strip of wood to the wall, secured by 2 anchors and 2 beams. And you can use the entire strip as your anchor point. It's as if we just made like 6 other beams into the wall. So now what we need to do, what we want to do is do some math. That's what we want to do. So we want to do 23, let's say, and a half, and then 15 and a half is 8-inch difference, which means you have to come in 4 inches on each side for it to be centered. We're setting there. Let's do it so it doesn't cover the light, and then remeasure. Well, why don't we say there? Let's go there to there, and then measure the same. I want it to cover the light. That's 3 and a half. I would just measure 3 and a half. 3 and a half. That slat, you can see, comes in at least, what, 4 or 5 inches into the mirror, so I know it's going to catch the iron rail on the mirror. That slat, same difference, comes in easily 4 or 5 inches. So what's good about this system is it slides. So if I don't get the point there, I can slide it there until the width of the slat itself. This, I would want to do two sheetrock screws to anchor this, just because more strength. Start it up. Come in about ½ inch.
I went ahead and installed this one piece, this slat wall piece that I was talking to you about. That's this thing here. Right, that's where these hooks are going to engage to create the support system. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process on the other side, the one that we made the marks for before, within 4.5 inches in. We'll go ahead and quickly install that. pre-drilled the holes already. We're going to use some steel sheetrock screws. Just get this in really quickly. Now that we got these two slat wall pieces installed onto the beam, it's not going anywhere. It's ready for the support hooks. So I got in my sink basin here. You can get these from Home Depot, you can get them from Amazon, get them wherever. They're 6-inch slat wall hooks. I'm not sure if you could read that. 6-inch slat wall hooks. All right, so I'm gonna use 2 for each slat piece for added support. These things will hold a decent amount of weight, but I wanna do 2 of them just in case. So I'm just gonna put them on just like that and just like that. And no, I don't leave these up. This is simply for the use of the mirror that I was talking to you about. So as you'll see in a bit, the mirror is going to basically come onto this area here where that rail is, that rail design. That's going to hook right there, and it's hanging right in front of the mirror itself. So the final step is to show you how this sits on the installment we just did. It's pretty simple, right? I mean, the video took a minute because I had to go step by step and show you how to anchor stuff and show you how to find beams and whatnot. It's for anyone and everyone out there that doesn't know just the simple basics. That's what the whole thing is about. So I got the mirror here. And it opens up like so. And it's super cool because this is a big mirror, right? To do an install of this on your own, it would take a minute. It would be a pretty big project. Okay. Well, there you have it. They're sitting on all 4 of these hooks, right? And again, they're maneuverable. So if you felt inclined where you didn't like it here, let's say, you wanted to shift that out to here, it's just made you feel better, it's a different anchor point, you can do that. All right, guys, well, that concludes another episode of John Does in this mirror install. If you found this video helpful, I'm hoping you did. If you liked this video, if you liked my beard, if you liked the new shaved beard, if you found something helpful, useful, you learned something, finding beams, using a magnet as a little hack to find a dead center on the stud, different tips and tricks you probably learned throughout watching the video, definitely let me know in the comments. Like I said, I am hoping that you learned something and you had fun watching it, and hopefully maybe you give it a shot in the future for yourself. I always welcome comments and suggestions, to be honest, for an upcoming video that you guys would like to see or something that you would want to learn. Give me a heads up, and if I can make it happen, I will. As always, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification button, and that way you'll be notified with the next great footage that's to come in the future. Until then, this is John Does signing off from another video. See you next time.